remember a giant box, and then we had to take
count it all. Yeah. No, I was on the 700 Club. They invited me down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I went on the 700 Club, and they were interviewing me. I remember I had a really bad sore in my mouth. My gums were killing me. And I had to do the makeup, they trim your hair, and you go out and sit down, and the guy was not Robertson, but the other guy was there, and the lady. I'm like, nobody believe this. And I'm sitting there, all these lights are on, and the guy goes, I'm like, oh no. And the light goes on the camera. So Steve, tell us about it. I was like, okay, yeah, right. And so that got broadcast, and right after that,
Phil Cooper. That's who
Phil Cooper was Phil Cooper. Yeah, Phil Cooper. He was with King Pharmaceutical, and they fired him, and he started his own gig. But he was a guy who initially started with bombarding me with all that medicine. He was one fiery Pentecostal Baptist.
He really was.
He used to holler at me, going, "You let me talk. I'm talking to you. You called me. Now you listen to me. I'm sending you 5 million of the." You want me to come up there and visit you? Yeah, Phil, I think so. All right, I'm going to your church. He shows up. How's everybody doing? Crazy. So we do the 700 Club, and during the course of the interview, I was talking about taking medical trips over there, and that perked up somebody. So I was at home only a little while, and they called me up and they said, "Hey, this is so and so. When you taking your next trip again?" And I said, "Well, we got one planned for blah blah blah. I forget the details." He said, "Well, we're going to have John call you." This guy was old. I'm not old. This guy was old. So John calls me up. "Yeah, well, I'm a pharmacist and I'd like to come on the next trip." And I said, "Well, that's really good. Well, we'd like to help pay for the trip. How many people are going?" I said, "Well, so far there's about 16. "Oh, no problem. What's your airfare cost? Oh, what's their food income?" They sent me a check for $25,000.
Wow. When was that?
This was 05,
Wow.
04, 03, early on. All this kind of crazy stuff happened. Don't you know, he shows up with me. He meets, I forget if we met at somewhere. We either came over on the same plane or we met in Kathmandu. Old man, the nicest man. He was grandpa, and man, was he a pharmacist. He took everything. When we started in Kalamati and we went to a couple other places, he had it all done up. He had it all marked. And then he would done it. He would say, "Okay, excuse me for a little bit." He'd go somewhere and take a nap for now. He'd wake up and come back now.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, his name was John. Oh, just an old guy. And then, by halfway through the trip, "Steve, you take me aside. Steve, how's the money going? You got enough money?" I said, "Well, John, we need about, yeah, that's not a problem." And he'd come back and he'd dish out like $600 in the US, say, "Here, take this and go get whatever you need." A couple times, super deal. And it was Phil Cooper. No, it was the other guy from 700 Club. Their branch, like their Samaritan's Purse, was called Operation Blessing. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was huge. And the cat that ran that, we became good friends. And they axed him all of a sudden one day. They fired him. And he lived out in the boonies in Carolina somewhere. And the last time I was dealing heavy with him was in 2001, because I was home sick and Ralph, and I was laying on the sofa. And I woke up. Dick Cole was his name. Dick Cole.
Dick Cole.
And I called him up and I said, "Dick, how are we doing with that? I didn't hear, but man, what have you been doing, sleeping?" I said, "Yeah, I've been sleeping. I've been sick." He said, "Well, you better turn the TV on." It was 911. Yeah, that was it. And then right after that, maybe a year later, they canned that guy. He was golden. He was golden. Now that brother, man, I'd pick up the phone, I'd say, "Hey, listen, I need 5,000 tabs of ibuprofen." "Okay, Stevie, get back to you tomorrow. Call me back. It's on the road. It's coming at you." Boom.
Wow.
Well, how did Ken Leahy get involved? Because he was with J&J. Didn't they send us towel?
No, J&J. When I had the office at Calvary, Philly, that was in the hallway. It was outside. It was in the hallway. I had that office there.
Yeah.
So that was 99. 2000. And him and Marcia came in one night after service. And he just came in and he said, "Hi, I'm Ken Leahy. This is my wife." He said, "We just wanted to give you a gift for," I didn't ask for it. I wasn't even on. I think we had just become a nonprofit. And he just came in and he just handed me an envelope. And he said, "We just wanted to support you. I'm J&J. And here's a stock gift." I'm thinking, what do I do with that? I don't know what to do with a stock. You take it to a bank and cash it in. I don't know what to do with it. And I said, "Wow." And I didn't know J&J. What's it worth? It was like, oh my gosh. First of all, I miscalculated. I left a zero off the right. And I thought, wow, I can't believe it. And then when I did the right math, I was like, oh my gosh. What am I going to do? And that's how I met Ken Leahy. So that was 99, 09, 19, that's 23 years.
And they went there.
Many times.
Oh yeah, many times. They did conferences.
Yeah.
And he went on
Marcia
trips.
was
He went on mission trips.
And
Great.
Marsha would stay with us, and he went on the trips.
Great people. Still, to this day, I was just texting
We
with
just
him
saw
today.
them in April.
Yeah, we're down in Florida, but I'm just texting back and forth because he's keenly interested in this new thing we got going, this village. We just did 2 days in Suraj village. He's one of the students.
Oh yeah.
So he's 2.5 hours above Pokhara towards Fishtail. So we did this 2-day pilot program. I had no idea how it was going to work. We bit the bullet. We bought an EKG machine, just a modest, simple one, and a couple smart BP cuffs. Took one of the top cardiologist guys in Kathmandu, I don't know his name, another doc, and 2 nurses. And in 2 days, they did over 100 EKGs and I think 100 cardio ultrasounds.
Wow.
And out of the 200 people, they found 20 that were like, go right now.
Wow.
Because the student, not Suraj, Suri, he said they don't know why, but in that area up there, there's this huge elevated rate of stroke and heart disease.
Huh.
They can't figure it out. They don't know why. But to find 200 people and 10%,
10% have to go to Kathmandu for
the
hospital.
cardiologist saying, I don't like what I see. You know, it could be, but he was picking up, you know, distressed respiratory information that's directly affecting the heart. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He said, but it's a lot of people. Yeah. So it was very cool.
Yeah.
It's cool that there's lives got saved, for sure. But it's cool for Suri because he's going to be the pastor there.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're doing the same thing December 6th, all the way up in Simi in northern Lamjung with Lala. We're going to go up there and do the same thing because we're getting funding for it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Great.
What else you want to hear?
You'll think of more later.
Why 5 years?
I don't know. I kept asking her, you want to go? No, not yet.
She had to
Well,
wait till
I
she
would
was
go. I would
retired.
go I would go 2 or 3 times a year
This is true.
to visit.
She was testing. Is it good? Good? Am I gonna survive?
Well, he wanted me to stay there for a month before I moved there, but I said I didn't need to. I knew.
But we went up there and we were looking at Aunt Paul at the Ari Pokeri up on top of the mountain there. And I saw the clinic. It was like a vision. Be careful, but I could imagine it right there. And so we left, and they built the thing. And it was coming back again, and we used to take our motorcycles to as far as Gampasol, park the motorcycles and get out and walk. You had to walk. It was a beautiful walk. You would walk right along this mountain ridge. It was like 4,000 feet, and the wind would blow up on both sides, and you could stand there, and you could feel like you were going to take off. We would always stop under the same tree, Potom and I. And the pine needles were like that thick, and we would sit there and we'd eat chow or something, or we would just do something, and we'd sit there and say, man, this is so cool. And the air would be blowing it. You know, you'd see all the birds, like, you'd be looking down on the birds, and they were hovering, and wow. And this time I went, and there was a road built. Here they took the bulldozer, and they built a road from Gampasol all the way to Ari Pokeri.
Wow.
Go figure. They didn't know that we were doing that.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
The cars can drive there now. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So we walked all the way. We walked on a brand new road. With our bulldozer. Thank you, Chapman.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, you sent a lot of stuff over through those containers.
Yeah.
We were always filling out paperwork for US Aid, and
Mm-hmm.
but
That was a good deal.
So what year were you in Nepal?
You were 03 and 08.
I think you said you were in 90s too.
no, I went.
Did you go with Schaefer's both times?
Well, I went with you, just you and I, and that's when we met Simon Peter and
That was 99. Then you went in 08 with Wayne.
Wayne and Jean.
You met Simon Peter, but wasn't Rick Bruce with us? That's when we crossed the field. We crossed the old airfield
Yeah,
at
and I
Denton
think
Poker.
Dave Keogh was there.
Right.
I
Yeah, so that couldn't have been 99, was it?
don't know. I just remember.
You know, it may have been 99 because we were going back to Tanti-Pokari to see the completed church. I
Yeah,
think that's correct.
and I fainted, so he didn't get to go.
Aww.
I got sick.
She went down hard, man.
Aww.
Yeah. I think Dave Keogh was behind me, and I just remember saying, "There's something wrong." That was it.
It was hot.
Yeah, it was very hot.
Yeah.
So we stayed at this little store, and the lady was so kind. She was cutting up pears and water, and Steve Uncle said, "Don't eat that or you'll die."
That's true.
Your gut ain't ready for that.
Yeah.
Nope.
So he didn't get to go to where he wanted to. That's what.
It's funny.
I
Very first time he went to Nepal in August, and then this time he went to Nepal in August too, and it was rainy season, right?
Yeah.
You think you'd learn?
Yeah.
And then the time with the broken foot, he promised he would not.
Going to rainy season.
You like going though in rainy season. You like having leeches on you, don't you?
You guys have competition getting
One
it
time we with Bottom.
He had leeches. Yeah.
Bottom and I and somebody else, and we were at Calchagan all the way up the river, and we took the trail along the river to see the new church. And as we started to go up, it started to downpour, and man, the water was like coming down the trail, and it was like rapids coming down. And we were soaking wet. Soaking wet. So we couldn't take the trail. We had to go off the trail because the trail was flooding. So we were walking up through the weeds and the grass, and he's behind me. He's, "Oh, boss, you got a leech." And I pull the leech off. You know, you get a leech, you bleed.
Yeah.
I had 24 leeches because me and him now, we are having a contest. I had 24. He's counting and I'm counting for him. I have a video. So we saw the church and all that, blah, blah, blah. We
He
came
told
all
that Matt would be.
Ooh.
bleeding like I was shot because they bore, you know? And so we came back down and now the rain stopped, but he's still picking leeches off me. And we get to just outside of Sarah Bazaar? No, I'll think of it. Nadi, where Chris was. Chris later died. Chris was married to Baiku, who was afraid to have him come back from Saudi Arabia, and then he gets saved, he gets on fire, and he becomes the pastor. Give me a break. Anyway, we're trying to get back to that church. We're trying to get back to the church, and we're about 100 yards before. We said, "That's it. Let's stop in here because we got to eat." So this was where we would have went anyway. And I went in there, and I'm sitting there, and I have shorts on, soaking wet, and I pulled my socks and my shoes off. I had leeches all over me. And I was picking the leeches off, and it was bleeding, and I wiped it and bleed. It was so gross. And he thought it was great. "That's good for you, boss. That's good for you. It's cleaning you." I said, "It's not good for me."
Who said that?
Bottom, you tell me how beneficial it is to have a leech sucking the blood out of you. That was crazy. So Baiku was married to Krishna, Hindu, and Krishna goes to Saudi Arabia to work, and he's gone like a long time. Baiku got deathly ill. Did you ever hear the story?
Go ahead.
She gets deathly ill, and she starts to get this palsy thing, and she's whining. She's just laying on a mat, and she can't do nothing. She's just shot. Witch doctor came through the paste and everything, the urine, pee, and everything, all that. And she's all messed up. And the Christians came. The women, they came and they prayed for her, something like that. For a few days, she's up walking around and fine. I'm a believer now. I'm in. So she goes to church, she gets a Bible, she's on fire. She's getting it all, she's soaking it all up. She's filled with the Spirit. The old man's coming back. This is going to be a problem. He came back. He's, what? You're a Christian? And she said to him, she basically said, it's my way or the highway. She said, you were away. I was dying. I got healed. I've been saved. I'm a Christian, and I'm not changing. And she like really stood her ground. He was like, oh, all right. And don't you know, then he gets saved. Isn't that crazy? And then we have to move Lala out of there. And he goes somewhere, went somewhere, got training, and he came back, and then he's the pastor. Wow. And she's still there.
Yeah.
You ever meet her?
No.
Bite her? Craziest place I've ever been. And so it is. See you, team.
Was there? That was when the king got.
the
Steve
king,
was
yeah.
on the phone with
2001.
me, and I said, "Hun, it's all over the news," and he didn't know. So that's when he split everybody up.
We had to tell the people in the village where we were doing the medical camp for the day. We had to leave. We had to tell them. They didn't know.
Yeah, they.
Oh,
What?
Yeah, we had to
That
tell
the
the king.
the
King
king
that-
stuff was going on. But when the king was shot.
Yeah.
2001.
The whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know.
So we're eating in Chitwan, and Harry, the steak guy from Everest Steak, he has a place in Chitwan. So there's a bonda. They declared a bonda, and Harry and I are stuck there. So we go to Harry's Steakhouse, not Harry, our Harry, but his name is Harry, Hari, and we go to his Everest Steakhouse. It's upstairs. It was okay. It was pretty nice. We were hungry. It was some kind of beef. It was probably, I don't know what it was, buffalo. And potato and something, and a bottle of water. So we ate, we paid, and we walk out, and we're out the street. There's nothing going on. There's a bonda. It's dead quiet. And all we hear is this flute. We're musicians. We're like, yeah, where is that? It's coming from that way. No, it's coming from over there. No, it's coming from over there. So yeah, it's coming from here. So we get down by the creek, the river, and there's these two Indian dudes. And the cat's got the flute. And the other dude's got the baskets, the wicker baskets. And he's got a bunch of them. My gosh, he starts, so the guy's playing. Of course, Harris has his harmonica, happens to have a harmonica in his pocket. Now, him and the flute guy are jamming. Harry's like, what key you're in? So they're playing together, and the other dude takes the wicker basket and takes a snake out, this big snake, and puts it around Harry's neck. And then takes another one, and the final one he takes is a cobra. And he takes it and he puts it on. Harry's got like 5 snakes on him, and he's playing music with this guy. Why? And Denny climbed up stepped on the seat and got up on the window ledge and put his coat on it and fell asleep in the sun. Just slept.
Yeah.
Bang! Right out. And sleeping.
He knew some good sleeping places. He showed me one in Bangkok at the airport.
Well, where we were at the gate was also where they made announcements for the whole airport. And the thing was right there. The microphone was right there, and there was a little box, but there was nobody there. And there was a little switch. I couldn't help it. So I went over and threw the switch on. Denny Scannell, report to the main counter. Went through the whole airport. He wouldn't wake up. I waited, I did it again. Denny Scannell, report to the main counter. He woke up. He's like, so I'm like, what's up, Denny? Yeah, I did it. Somebody called my name. What? Go back to sleep. All right.
can't even imagine him going to heaven and like the before and after Denny is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know?
Before he
remember when
died, he really wanted to go back to Nepal.
You have to get Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
Did he only go one time?
Yeah. That was good. And there's Franny.